Hey guys, so I've got my NHL 22 custom roster review. This is part 1, so this is only going through the created players. In the next part, which should be coming in soon, I'll be going through the whole rosters in its entirety. But here it's just going to be the created players, as doing both it would be super long. There's over 200 players up till the 2020. A lot of players. Among players who are not in the game, guys in college. And you can actually download my roster in the community files section here. It's called Elite Shell Rosters. Just came out with it today, so make sure to give it a download if you want. And these next two videos are just going to be a review through the roster, and you guys can see all the individual ratings and potentials and see if you like it. And we actually do already have 8 downloads. If you do end up liking or using it, make sure to comment below, as well as leave a like here, and hopefully you can continue to get some of the top, as I do have quite a few edits looking at not only. So first off, we have Eric, and he is a 16-year-old medium, top 956 overall. Don't know too much about this guy at all, but I believe he's for 2023. Next up, we've got Angus Crookshank. He's a prospect for the Senators. Alexei Donstov, so I think he's for 2024, medium top 6, so he's projected to be a first rounder. And then we have Artyom Duda. He's another younger player for this upcoming draft. And also, I would actually like to mention, a lot of these guys are on KHL teams or are playing in the NCAA, USDP, which are not obviously. I just assign them to random junior teams in the CHL. Next, he's from the top prospects for 2023. Actually, also be coming out with my first 2023 mock draft, along with my 2022 mock draft, my third one. So make sure to look out for that. But Fantilli is one of the top guys. Right to go top 10. Could go. He's in third overall. He's one of the top players. Great player, and he actually is playing. I believe he's actually playing in the right now, but he does have rights in the CHL. Next up, Anton Frondau. So he's a really young guy for 25, so he's only 14, but he's one of the top prospects from there. Next up, Artyom Grushnikov. He's already got drafted by the Stars. I believe he was a 3rd round pick. And Jekko, I think he's for 2025 or 2024. And also, you can pause the video to look at the individual stats. If you don't maybe want to download this, but want to add some more players, you can do that as well. So first, we've got our first big player. Our Fantilli's pretty big, but Kiviharju, he's one of the top players. He's a projected first overall pick for 2024. Obviously, he's the best defense prospect since Rasmus Dahlin. Offensive defenseman. Overall, just a really good player. 78 overall, gave him the higher league potential, so he should grow to be about 80 to 82. I think he's an amazing player, and going to for sure be a really good defenseman. I think he has potential to be one of the top defensemen in the league. Next up, Alexei Kolosov. He's a goalie. Artyom Levshnikov. There's a lot of guys, so I'm going to go through these actually pretty quickly. Erda Martino just got drafted by the Stars. Aiden Park, I believe he's 2023. But yeah, there's a lot of Russian guys here. I'm gonna go quickly though, so make sure to pause and make sure to keep on the lookout for my next video. It will be longer. It's gonna be going through all the rosters and all that. So NHL, AHL, so like even you're gonna be going through all the CHL teams. And I do have at least one edit on actually most of the CHL teams. I think I'll wait a bit longer for this for some of the bigger players. But here you can see just the ratings and potential for all these guys. Alexander Zetterberg, he's a pretty good player, one of the top guys for 2024. He may or may not be Henrik Zetterberg's son, but he's one of the top guys for that class. Could be a top 5 pick, so 71 overall, medium elite, and he does have X factors. Bryce McConnell Barker, he's supposed to be late 2nd round pick, maybe, or early 2nd round pick, maybe late 1st round picks for this year's draft. Bobby Brink, he was drafted in 2019. He's a solid prospect. Brennan Brisson, prospect for Vegas, first round pick. Berkeley Catton, another top guy for 2024. Around the same area as Zetterberg, not as good as Kiviharju, but on the level below. He also is projected to be a top 5 pick. Brock Faber, top prospect for the Kings, one of the top prospects. Brent Johnson, I believe he was just drafted. Brady Martin, he's one of the top prospects for 2025. So these guys all have medium elite, and in 2025, and you can see he has a lot of X factors. So for 20, Dobrzynski, he's supposed to be top 5 pick. I have him at 3rd in my mock draft, right behind Bedard and Michkov for 2023. He should go top 5 for sure. Could even go 3rd. Dominic Fentor, Drew Hellison, Dylan Holloway, 72 high top 6. I was kind of on the fence for him, whether I should give him medium top 6, high top 6, but decided to go with high top 6 for him. I think he's a pretty underrated prospect player. Overall, I think he can be great playing on McDavid or Draisaitl swing in Edmonton. Danilo Porshkov, so a younger guy for 2024. Danilo Yurov, he's an intriguing player for me. I gave him the X Factors, but I gave him high top 6 as his production just hasn't really been there. I think he has a ton of potential though, and I was kind of on the fence whether I should give him medium elite, but I just decided to stick with high top 6. I was thinking maybe to give him like a super low rating, like a 58, and give him medium elite, but I decided to just give him the higher rating in high top 6, because that's kind of where I have him in my mock draft. And 2023 is a very stacked class, much more stacked than most years. Phil Feisten, another guy for this upcoming draft, and there are a lot, like most of the top goalies are here. Philip Mazur, I think, like, he's a guy who's kind of in and around in the draft rankings. He could even go top 10, to be honest. Fyodor Svechkov. You can see there are a bunch of Russians, as well as just random guys who just aren't really in the game. A lot of guys are playing in the NCAA. Drag Trizikov, he's for this year's draft. So there's going to be like the whole first round of the draft should be real players. Henry Thrun, he's actually a pretty underrated prospect. Could even give him medium top 40. But most of the guys, first and second round, should mostly be real. And another thing I would like to mention is that when you do for the first few years, since if you don't want to get a lot of creative players, there's 2 settings that you can adjust. First, Nechenko, very polarizing prospect. I'd like to talk about him actually for a second. Great shooter. He's got perfect size. I just don't think his production is quite there for a medium elite, but he is super close. Ivan Morozov. So, what I was saying before, there's 2 sliders that you can adjust for the draft class, for quality and creative players and all that, and make them low for the first few years so you don't get many creative players. Jacob Chromiak, I think he's Martin Chromiak's brother, who was one of the biggest steals of the 2020 draft, maybe 2021. But make sure to put them on low, and then you can put them on high or medium for the upcoming drafts. I would probably suggest high, as the drafts are usually pretty underrated. But John Farinacci, he did good in the World Juniors. But you probably do want to have Jordan Gavin, actually. Medium elite, one of the top guys for 2025, so still really young. We got the X Factors, ton of potential. We got the medium elite. Jordan Harris, he's been really good. One of the top prospects from Montreal, so he gets up medium top 4. Feather Jack Hughes, he's eligible for this upcoming draft. Jordan Kawaguchi, he's a bit older, but yeah, their sliders, just make them low, so you don't get too many creative players on, like, fake players, as we do have all these real players, so you get, there'll still be some, but there will be less. Lekaramaki, tons of potential, a really good player with, like, a lot of potential, but he is worse right now, so that's why I give him the lower rating. Potential. Jack Pierre could honestly be medium top 4. Jake Sanderson, he's a safe prospect. Drysdale's just better though. I mean, Ottawa did make a mistake. He's still a good player, but safer, doesn't have potential. I just think Drysdale's just a much better prospect. Sanderson actually should probably be like a 77 or 78. I may change that. Johnny Tankonik, Another player who's kind of been, it seems like he's been a prospect auto forever. Jackson Weatherby. But yeah, there are a lot of guys. Kent Johnson. So for Kent Johnson, I think we should probably is give him medium elite, but then make him like a 62, because I think then he has so much potential. But I would probably make him low franchise. So low franchise is basically the same as medium elite. So I think I would say give him a really low rating, but give him that medium elite, so it kind of balances out because he has a potential, but it's a bit riskier. So that way, the rating is less likely to get that. Kirsanov could probably even give top 4. Marchenko, Kirill Semyonov. I believe he's playing in the KHL. Yeah, he's in the KHL right now. Liam Michkov. He's the top German prospect for this year. Leo Carlson, 2023, one of the top players for that draft. Probably going to be a top 10 pick, so I got the medium elite. Logan Cooley, got based on my mock draft. I have him really high in mine. I'm really high on him. Such a good player, so he gets that medium elite 77. Linus Eriksson. Luke Hughes. Interesting prospect for me, but I think this is like fairly good place to put him at. But like the 2021 prospects are really weird. It was really tough for me to actually like to decide what ratings and potentials to give them. And a lot of these guys, like, they're in and around high top 6, high top 4, or high top 6, high top 4, and medium elite. But you could even go either way for a lot of them. I have second round pick. Linus Weisbach, play on Wisconsin. Liam Ogren, prospect. And Matthew Beniers, he's not medium elite. I think he's an exact definition of a high top 6 player. He's such a safe prospect, very developed, which is why he gets to 80. He could be a third line center on a large portion of the teams in the NHL at this point. And he could maybe even be Arizona's like first line center at this point. But he's choosing to play in Michigan. I think he's probably my favorite homework of the year next year because he is so developed, but he just doesn't have that potential. That is the thing with Beniers, but really good developed prospect already. But I think with him, like, he's gonna end up being 85 to 87. He's gonna be a really good two-way center, very good two-way center. He's great defensively, but I just think the thing with him is Macklin Salverini. He's 2024, I think. But I think the thing with Beniers is he just doesn't quite have the potential. He won't be a number 1 center. Where not the time with a medium reliever. Like, it's gonna be completely unrealistic. Beniers becomes like a 9 overall. Fleming, these guys dropped a lot in the past few years. Michael Haig, Matthias Havlid, Marco Casper. I'm a big fan of him. Pretty underrated. Honestly, could go top 10, top for sure. He's done really well playing I think he's playing in Slovakia. I think he's from like Austria or something. Mark Kuznetsov, a pretty good player. Matthew Knies, steal on the draft by the Leafs. He's a solid player. Matthias Maselli, he's Coyotes prospect. But yeah, Matthew Michkov, I don't think he's made a franchise. He could be. He's a great player, I think. Bedard just has more potential, and high Leafs like really hard to get for me. But I'm gonna leave him there. And back-to-back important prospects to talk about. Michael Misa in contention for exceptional status. One of the favorites to go first overall for 2025. 14 years old, but super young. But he's 68 overall, medium-elite. Great player, and I think could get. I don't think he will, as he's just not the level of guys like Bedard and stuff. You might have heard, but Mize is still a great player, and could get exceptional status for the OHL. Matvei Petrov. So there are some like random players that you probably don't know here. Matthew Samoskevich. He's a really good prospect. Probably like he should be higher. Could be like even up to like 66, 67. He put up a great number for the USHL last year. Like I said, there's like so many uh, prospects in this one. It's already going longer than I thought. The next video is gonna take a very long time. Noah Oslin, another guy for 2022. Owen Power, so he's overrated. Um, like I don't think he's a major league prospect. I think high top 4 is fine. Like, not even the fact that he's on Buffalo, he's just not that good. I mean, I think 74, giving like getting all these X factors is even generous, but he's just not that good of a player. He's big, but he's 6'6", but he's just not that great at all. And the only reason why he went first is because of his size. All the scouts raved about him, they loved him, but he's really just not that good. He's not the best defenseman in this class, and I think I had him like just around, like barely in the top 10 for this class. Otto Stenberg, he's 2023. Owen Tufto. So there are these college guys who are older, but they're getting signed out of college. Pavel Dorofiev, penultimate second overall pick in 2020 OHL draft. Gonna be going, he's eligible for 2022. Prokhor Polchakov, I think he was second round pick. Quinn Musty, 2023. Probably gonna be top 50, maybe top 10 pick. Rodion Mirov, probably one of the top Breeze prospects. Ryan Chesley, he's 2022. Ryan Johnson, I think he could be like high top 6. He just really hasn't cracked NHL much, and I don't see much potential with him, especially playing for Buffalo. Robert Mastrosimone, really good prospect for Detroit. McGroarty, mid-first round pick, projected to be that for this upcoming draft. But a lot of these guys are just random players. Sean Barons, he was for Colorado. Shea Bouillon, thought pick like 36 overall or something. A second round pick by Detroit. James Casey, late to mid first round pick for this upcoming draft. Delangelo, Ducks prospect, second round pick. Farrell, solid Habs prospect. He put up great point totals in the NCAA. Scott Morrow, another solid prospect, late second round pick. I had him, I think, in my top 40 draft ranking. Shakir McDoulan, he's a good player. Nemec, same rating as Cooley, 77 medium elite. I think he honestly, arguably, could be a better prospect than Drysdale, the best defense prospect, even better than Byram as well. Arguably the best defense prospect since Rasmus Dahlin. Has an offensive, if he can get his defensive game up, I think for sure. Has putting up great totals in the Czech League. Got Pernovich, really good guy for the Blues. Played in the NCAA. Sam Baranta. But I'm gonna go. So Shane Wright, high elite, 83. One thing about him, his skills are very transferable. So I think he's gonna get the higher rating as he's gonna be really good off the bat. He's quite a medium franchise player. He's close, but I think from what I've seen, he just isn't quite that. He's gonna be number 1 center. I think he'd be a top 10 player in the NHL, but he isn't quite necessarily at that McDavid, McKinnon, maybe even Matthews level. But I think he's close, and I think honestly, Matthews he's very comparable to Matthews as a great two-way player, underrated for that. And he's the best one of the best scorers in the league. Shane Wright, amazing shot, like Matthews, and also he has a great two-way ability. Thomas Bordelot, another prospect there for the Sharks. Davier, 10th overall pick, huge reach by the Sens, an atrocious draft. Tristan Bruss, Tyler Duke, Ty Emberson, Tanner House, so he's 2024. Theo Lindsteed, one of the top prospects for the 2023 draft as well. Ty Smolonic. You're starting to get through this. Victor Eklund, William Eklund's brother, one of the top guys for 2025. He is now back, but yeah, he is going for 2025. One of many guys they're running for first overall. I thought first top. I put Coles in. Could be high top 6. Kind of in between there. Didn't really get the production at all in the KHL. He did have limited ice time, but I just don't think he's a medium weight prospect anymore. Uh, William Moore, one of the top guys for 2025 as well. Will Smith, another top guy, supposed to be like for 2024. Skarov, 70 overall medium franchise. I think that's pretty good. He's not quite as good as Wallstead, but I think he's almost there. Like he put up amazing numbers in the KHL. Chinnikov, he did get some games in the NHL. Jan Kuznetsov, Zachary Moret, another 2025 guy. A lot of guys here have X factors, and that's actually it. So these are all the guys. I'd say there's probably over like 200 guys here. So many players created, but hopefully enjoyed. If you did, leave a thumbs up, comment down below what you think, and if you did download my roster. But again, you can go on the community file, download. You're gonna have to scroll a bit, but it should be on the 5th page. But it's sort by date. Came out on December 21st, and it's called a roster. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.